Xbox might not make another console, and here's all the reasons why. The PlayStation 5 since release has been destroying the Xbox in sale. This started off pretty even, then eventually the PS5 just overtook it completely and has left it in the dust. And in my own life, this also holds true. People I know either have a PS5 or Nintendo Switch. Not many people have an Xbox Series X or S. And part of the reason why no one bought the Xbox Series S and X is because of the names. The Xbox naming scheme really fell off with the Xbox One. Like, people rag on the Wii U for having a bad name, rightfully so. But Xbox kind of did the same thing. It wasn't exactly as bad as Nintendo's naming scheme, but going from Xbox 360 to Xbox One was really stupid, especially when the competition, the PlayStation, just went from PS3 to PS4. It's a lot more clear cut, and Xbox One is confusing. And the Xbox Series X is even more confusing because there's also the Xbox Series S, okay? And they called the previous Xbox upgrades the Xbox One X and Xbox One S. If that isn't confusing to you, you're probably 14. It's like Xbox doesn't really know what they want to be anymore, and the names are a symptom of that. Ever since that Xbox presentation where they just talked about the TV the entire time, Xbox has been dead to a lot of people, including me. The fall from grace that Xbox had when they revealed the Xbox cable box is astounding. Like, the Xbox 360 was the gamer console. That's the console you played all your big multiplayer games on. COD got DLC packs a month early on the Xbox 360 compared to the PS3, and at the time they were all map packs, so you got a pretty substantial amount of content early. And then Halo was one of the go-to games at the time, which you could only play on the Xbox, and Halo 3 had one of the biggest midnight releases ever. Xbox really was the console for gamers. And then they released the Xbox One, which was all about TV. Now, everyone at the time who actually bought consoles knew this was a bad idea. Everyone got the memo except for Microsoft. And in hindsight, it's even funnier because, yeah, no one watches cable TV anymore. You probably do watch stuff on your console. It's just on the Netflix app or the YouTube app, not cable. This decision to market the Xbox One towards TV was just really silly. And it's especially impressive that Xbox managed to fall off this hard when the PlayStation had a pretty bad reputation. Like, PlayStation was seen as the budget option, like budget in like great value way. It's like not good, mainly because you didn't have to pay for premium connectivity, and it also got DLC later than the Xbox, so it felt cheaper. And people also didn't like the controllers. People preferred the Xbox controllers, and people still do, by the way. Most people I talk to still prefer Xbox controllers over PlayStation. But the point is, Xbox had all these advantages compared to PlayStation and still fumbled the bag. The PS4 even added paying for online. So if you were buying a PS4, it was a worse deal than a PS3. And I bring all this up because really the Xbox One was the first domino and Xbox maybe never making a console again. After the Xbox One flopped, Microsoft went to Xbox and basically broke their kneecaps and told them to run. From what I understand, ever since the Xbox One, Microsoft has not treated Xbox favorably at all, which I'm sure is not helping Xbox. And then also, somewhere down the line, Xbox forgot they're supposed to make good games with the console. They can't just make the console. When I think about the Xbox 360, I think about the games I played on it. Games like Call of Duty, Halo 3, and Uno.
You have Uno!
Some of you probably thought of Gears of War and just Xbox Live Arcade in general because there's a lot of hidden gems on there. The Xbox Live Arcade was a lot like the Steam Early Access section. Like, you can find some amazing games, but most of them are garbage. But the Xbox 360 had games, and people were hyped for those games. And the Xbox One really didn't get much. Like, really, it was Dead Rising 3, Sunset Overdrive, Forza, and I guess Halo. I know Sunset Overdrive is like widely acclaimed. I have not played it personally. Halo 5 had mixed reception, Forza is Forza, and Dead Rising 3 was a buggy, laggy mess. How do I know? I tried to play it. But games on the Xbox One versus the Xbox 360 fell off pretty hard. They weren't bad, but there was definitely less option. And when you get to the Xbox Series X, exclusives fell off even harder, mainly because none of the games are really exclusive anymore. For some reason, Xbox saw the Epic Games style of like releasing exclusives and was like, hey, I'm gonna do that even though it literally doesn't work. And we'll talk about that more right after a message from the sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by the FlexiDesk. If you're in the market for a new desk, the Standing Desk E7 and E7 Pro are a great option. Standing desks are usually advertised towards people who like standing at their desk, but that's not why I actually like them. As a tall person, I like standing desks because of the infinite adjustability. Because before I had a standing desk, I couldn't get a desk the way I wanted it to because my chair wouldn't go high enough or low enough or whatever it was. You raise it and lower it using the control panel, which also has memory preset buttons so you can save any preset height you want. There's also a child lock function in case you wanted to use that or just lock it for yourself. If you don't care about the standing desk feature at all, it's still way sturdier than a normal desk. And unlike certain other desks that shall not be named that are made with cardboard, FlexiDesk use automotive grade steel, which is no joke. The package says lift with 2 people, and you definitely should try to do that if you have the option because it's actually pretty heavy. Actually building it was like really straightforward and fast. It only took me about an hour and a half and I was doing it alone, so you probably would have it done a lot faster if you had another person. And since the E7 Pro can support up to 440 pounds, I can sit on it and raise it fully with no problems. And honestly, honestly, this really sketched me out when I did it. Like, I knew it would be fine. It didn't feel fine, though. It goes really high up. And since it can support so much weight, this also means it's super sturdy. So no matter what height you use it at, you're gonna have minimal wobble whenever you do anything, because wobbling desks are like the most annoying thing in the world. So what are you waiting for? Check out the E7 Pro and E7 desk down below in the description using my link. And if you use my code YTE730 on either one of those, you'll get $30 off. And if you're worried about not liking the desk or it breaking or something, I wouldn't, because there's a 15-year-long warranty, and there's also a free 30-day return window. So if you get it and you hate it, you can just return it. Thank you, FlexiSpot, for sponsoring the video, and let's get back into it. Timed exclusives don't really sell consoles. Like, yeah, it helps, but it's not really selling consoles. What sells consoles is fantastic exclusive games that you can only play on that console. Nintendo is a perfect example of this. You don't buy a Nintendo console to play Call of Duty. You buy a Nintendo console to play Nintendo games. It's also one of the reasons why Nintendo is rarely ever compared to the Xbox or PS5. They really just aren't in the same league of consoles. And then Sony has been moving in this direction with PlayStation. Have you noticed that a lot of people have been talking about how good the games are on PlayStation versus Xbox? And then Xbox has completely abandoned this idea. Everything that releases on the Xbox is almost guaranteed to eventually be released on the PC. And then most of the time, those exclusives also end up on the PS5. Like, for example, Starfield is expected to come out in the PS5 around this year or next year. There really isn't any reason to get an Xbox Series X over a PS5 unless you really like Halo or Starfield. And even then, if you like those games, you might as well just get a decent gaming PC, because it's not gonna be that much more than an Xbox Series X at this point. And when you factor in Xbox Game Pass on the PC and Steam sales, it kind of makes sense why you get a PC. Now, there's also the Xbox Series S, which is available and cheaper, but it's hard to know if people are actually buying this thing, because Xbox does not separate their sales numbers at all. They're just one graph. It's like how Tesla puts their bad selling cars all in the same category, so you can't tell which one's doing bad. Except in the case with Xbox, it's all of their consoles. And they also stopped releasing the sales numbers themselves, so we can assume that they're bad. So all we have are estimates, and they're not good. The PS5 has sold around 65 million units, and the Xbox X and Series S have sold under 30 million. It is currently a bloodbath for Xbox, and this has been happening since the Xbox One, and it's pretty clear to me that Xbox has been giving up on the hardware side of things for a while. Like 10 years ago, Phil Spencer was talking about Xbox as a service. Xbox is clearly moving towards Xbox Game Pass as being the replacement for the Xbox console. And in my opinion, in the long term, this is a horrible decision. Like, first off, Game Pass is not gonna move a lot of consoles because it's Game Pass. The whole idea behind Game Pass is that everything is an Xbox. There was a whole ad campaign about it. And as a PC player, the Xbox Game Pass is perfect if you don't want to ever buy an Xbox. I can play a lot of games in existence for $12 a month. And if a new Xbox game comes out, I can pay for $12 for a month, play the game, and then cancel my subscription. At this point in time, Game Pass is only losing Xbox money. It is not making the money whatsoever. And it's not selling consoles either. So given that Xbox Game Pass is only a drain on Xbox currently, it's pretty safe to say they're doing what Netflix did in the early days of Netflix, where they start off really cheap, they get you hooked, and you keep paying for it even though the price just keeps increasing. They're basically trying to be the middleman for gaming services, where you pay a rental fee to Xbox to play games. And the goal for Game Pass is 100 million subscribers by 2030. And I don't think that's gonna happen. For context, Netflix has 300 million users globally, but only about 80 million of those users are in the US. And Xbox is pretty notorious for being hated everywhere but the USA. This 100 million subscriber goal is a total shot in the dark, especially when you take into consideration that the Game Pass prices currently are way too low to be sustainable. Just like Netflix did, once they reach a certain amount of subscribers, they will increase the cost of the subscription. But if they keep increasing the price, I do not see Game Pass getting 100 million subscribers by 2030. It's just not gonna happen. As of now, Xbox only has 30 million subscribers to Game Pass. And a lot of people who get Game Pass are probably just playing like 1 or 2 games on there. And if it costs $30 a month at some point, people are gonna look at that and be like, why am I paying for this? I only play 2 games, and just buy the 2 games. Also, Xbox already said they weren't gonna raise prices and did anyway. It was a condition set by courts to buy Activision Blizzard to not raise the price of Game Pass. And they did it anyways. And it's only gonna go up because this business model makes no sense. In what world can $20 a month get you access to hundreds of $70 games? The prices will continue to go up because they literally have to for this to be profitable. And Xbox has pushed Game Pass at the cost of their own console. In what world can you run an advertisement campaign where you devalue your own console and not have it affect its sales? If you call everything an Xbox, suddenly that Xbox you have is a lot less valuable. Like, what is the point in buying an Xbox if you can play it on your smart fridge? Actually. Now, Phil Spencer has told the Xbox team they still plan on releasing another console, but I don't necessarily believe them because Phil Spencer has lied before. He does that sometimes. And all of the signs point to them giving up on consoles. That doesn't mean they will necessarily, but unless they change their strategy, the next Xbox will fail, just like the Xbox Series X did. Xbox would need to make some seriously banger exclusives to start getting people to buy their consoles again. Even now, a lot of the studios that Microsoft has bought have just been gutted and replaced with contract workers. And that's just not how you make a banger exclusive. It just isn't. Halo Infinite is a great example of this. Everyone was super hyped for Halo Infinite because of the beta. And then everyone found out the beta was all the content there was. And then when Xbox does make console exclusives, they completely screw over the development studios making the game. Like, why did an Xbox developer have to go public to get Xbox's attention to check their emails? That is insane. So yeah, unless Xbox changes their ways, they're going to die. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe if you're new. Hey, click the answers down, check out more of my content, and have a good one.